Hi you guys, this is Jamie with Whatever's Clever Boutique, and today I have something a little bit different for you. I was wanting some summer martini and margarita glasses, and I've been wanting to make some for quite some time. They just intimidated me a little bit, and so I just never actually bought tumblers to try and design. So I bit the bullet and I went ahead and bought these. I actually got them off of Amazon and I just went straight beach theme. So I will have everything that I use listed and linked in the description box below. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask, and let's go ahead and get started. As I said, I went onto Amazon and I bought these stainless steel margarita and martini glasses, and they have a lid, which I was super excited about. And it even is in the shape of a whale fin, so or whale tail, so that was awesome. But I went ahead and fabricated my turner rods to fit these tumblers. That was a little bit of a process, but we made it work. And then I sanded the tumblers down just so that there was a good adhesion when I painted over top of that due to scuffing up the surface. So I went ahead and took this like beachy sand colored acrylic paint from Arteza and I painted the bottom of each tumbler. Once I got those all painted, I went and grabbed some spray paints. I grabbed a pink, orange, and yellow and went ahead and spray paint ombre that onto the martini glass, and then a few different shades of blue, and did the same thing on the margarita glass. Now I'm using a whole bunch of glitters. These are all the glitters that I'm going to go ahead and use for my martini glass, all from Chase Ray Creations. And we're going to go ahead and use the UV method today. So I'm just going to take that tumbler and I'm going to put a little bit of UV resin right on there. And this does take a while due to the shape. You really want to be sure you hit all of the surfaces of this tumbler. Aside from the bottom is rubber, as you kind of saw there with the little tag on the bottom. So you definitely don't want to get any epoxy there. But so I went ahead and just sat it down on my desk and epoxied the top of that bottom just like that, and it was so easy. Now we're just going to go in like we do with any of our ombre beach tumblers. I did do one of these in the past, and I am just going to work really slowly here. I want to be able to build up the coverage, so I'm not going super heavy with this first coat, but I'm just going to go back and forth with all of the colors, and then I will start with my chunky glitters and then work my way to the fine glitters. So I will just go ahead and let you watch that process. I know it's a little bit lengthy, but I do love how these tumblers turned out, and I wanted you guys to be able to see the steps that I took to achieve the look. Now that we have all of our chunky glitters laid, we're gonna go back over with our fine glitters in the same colors and just go ahead and build our blend. And let's go ahead and take a moment to appreciate that raw glitter moment. There is just something about raw glitter. It is just so pretty. Now we're going to go ahead and do our margarita glass. And these glitters are all coming from Peachy Olive Glitters. And they are in our standard beach tumbler colors. We are going to go ahead and do the exact same process that we did on our martini glass with the pastels on this margarita glass, working with our chunky glitters first, building that blend, and then going back in with our fine glitters to really solidify our ombre. And again, that amazing raw glitter moment. I am obsessed with these colors. They blended so flawlessly. And it was gorgeous outside today, so I went ahead and let these tumblers sit on my deck and cure in the sun because we did use UV resin. And then I went ahead and went in with 2 coats of epoxy. You all know my favorite epoxy is KSRESIN Liquidy Split Ultra UV. And this also was a little bit tricky just due to the shape. It took a little bit longer. Really take your time here. Be sure you don't miss any spots. Get all of those kind of nooks and crannies. I will say the actual handle part was a little bit tricky because it was so skinny. But just take your time and it will work out perfectly in the end. Once those 2 coats of epoxy are cured, I go ahead and take my sanding block and just sand down any of those rough spots on the tumbler where glitter may be poking through still. And I also took my little nail file that I use almost as a Dremel, and I also sanded down that top rim with that. Now for the seafoam wave part. I actually got this element sheet from B&B Glitters, and it is literally the best thing ever. I took these little, it's called Make Waves, and I took the little pieces and they wrapped almost perfectly around these tumblers on the little handle portion. So I just took one of those little elements and cut it out and then just wrapped it around that section where my yellow and gold meet to create my beach foam wave area. the one for this tumbler was a little bit short, so I just cut out a little section of another one of those little elements and placed it right over that spot where there was blank area. And this one was actually a little bit too long, so I went ahead and took my X-Acto knife and just in a zigzag kind of cut that wave so it wasn't a stark line and looked like it blends seamlessly around that handle. Now that we have those waves on, we're going to go in with a very thin coat of epoxy, which is already on my tumblers. And then I use the remaining epoxy and just put 1 drop of this white epoxy dye into the remaining epoxy. Now we're just going to take our popsicle stick and create little swooshes throughout the blue part of the tumbler. Once we get as much on there as we would like, I take my gloved finger and I am, instead of pulling, going to pat down on those white sections to create almost like a cloud type look. I went ahead and did that on the martini glass as well, and look at how cool that epoxy dye looks. It just gives it a totally different feel and adds different texture to the tumbler itself, so I'm super happy with how it turned out. Now we are going to do our bases. Of course, I couldn't just leave them plain. We are going to add some seashells, some starfish, and some sand dollars to create that really beachy feel. Of course, you can add as little or as much, or just avoid this step altogether. But I just went ahead and played around with different shells, and then I just took my UV resin and applied some of that to the base of the tumbler and the shell itself, and then went ahead and just cured each one of those selected shells on my tumbler. Now that I have the shells that I want on the tumbler, I'm now going to take that UV resin again and just really solidify that they are all down on that tumbler. And I'm going to even do the tops and just completely cover these shells all together. Not a super thick coat, you don't want this to drip by any means, but you really want to be sure these are all sealed in. I even took a paintbrush and just brushed that UV resin all over those shells and the surrounding areas. Once we get them completely covered to our liking, we're going to go ahead and let that cure under our light for, I would say, about 3 or 4 minutes is what I ended up doing. And then we're going to go ahead and move on to our martini glass and do the exact same thing. Once we get those to our liking, we are going to add 2 final coats of epoxy, of course taking the time to be sure that everything is well covered. I know these tumbler shapes are a bit odd, so it took a little more time and care, but these tumblers came out so amazing. I am so happy I finally tried these. I love them. I am keeping them. They are mine. But I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. I would love to help you on this random tumbler journey, if you will. It was definitely challenging, but it was a lot of fun, and definitely fun to just do something different. You know, we all kind of have our canvases that we love. I love 32 ounce and 24 plumps, as well as Big Betties. But it's fun to try out something different and just kind of stretch your creativity. Of course, I will have everything listed and linked in the description box below if you would like to go ahead and give these tumblers a shot or put your own twist on them. I am so obsessed with how they turned out. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me through a 20+ minute video, but because these were a little bit different, I wanted to show you the entire process. But I can't wait to see you guys next week and see what you guys create as well. Have a good rest of your day.